Hey everybody, it is July 31st, 2020. I am Sonic Sons, and it has been a while. And also, I probably don't need that little intro thing I always do. I came up with that back when I first started YouTube, and it's not super important, is it? I came back to YouTube to deliver a message. Don't forget your dreams. I have here a Brony shirt because I got big in the Brony fandom. I'm sure I must have mentioned that during my last update a couple years ago, and I had a much worse microphone. And I've been going over some of the old videos I made with that old crew, Pony in a Box. And it was awesome. And watching, or rather reading the comments from people was awesome. Some of whom are still commenting to this day. Where's Bells of Fate Part 2? I don't know. Folks went off in different directions. I don't have the YouTube password or, access to somebody willing to put up something on YouTube for me. But I still have hope. Someday, somehow, we'll just get the band back together. We'll make it work. And if not that specific thing, then 1,000 other things. Did you know that you can just Google for, Brony Discord and find other Discord channels with Bronies on them? Because the Pony in a Box channel has been rather quiet recently. And there's just this week, I was like, I could look up other video, other channel, other servers, I should say. And I've started auditioning for random voice acting projects, including a pony project. I've had a number of therapists over the years, and one great deficit I've suddenly realized is the inability as a group to come up with specific ideas on how to meet people. And I've had so much isolation and loneliness in my life. And granted, you can't just, throw yourself into the most social situations when you're dealing with a lot of mental health problems and whatever. But, there have been options this whole time that I didn't see. Partly because my therapist didn't see. They never got specific. I hope you meet people. And partly, maybe because they didn't see it, then I didn't see it, and I assumed if they didn't see options, then options weren't there. Maybe on some level I assumed that, just kind of deferring to my elders vaguely, subconsciously, in a way. And also for the shame. The sense of shame of what options? What's wrong with me? Why didn't I make use of options years ago? And there's oh my gosh, they used to be so much more intense. You have no idea. How long this has taken to get to the spot that I am. How many random roadblocks and just horrible random disasters happened along the way. And somehow I got to where I am now. And this should have been a lot easier. Life in general should have been easy. In a better world, things would have been better from the beginning, from childhood. I wouldn't have had a nervous breakdown when I did at the end of high school and suffered all the dizzy spells or vertigo technically or whatever. And all the emotional turmoil that is ultimately the source of all that. It's not fair and it's not right. And even so, don't forget your dreams. Because at this moment, I'm feeling more hope than I did in years past. And yes, I am saying that in the year 2020. The year of crazy. year of, the pandemic's going on or whatever. A lot of people are going through a lot of hard times. And I don't begrudge them the feeling of pain, panic, sadness, whatever. I don't mean to shame people for their feelings. No. Absolutely, I understand. And I'm also telling you, hold on to hope, man. Just hold on to defiance against all the forces of evil, abstractly considered. All the bad aspects of the world. The misfortune. The abuse. Messed up people and messed up systems, and obviously those two feed into each other. Keep on living. Keep on trying. And don't forget your dreams, because there's a temptation to forget. There's a temptation to tell yourself it doesn't matter. I'm not really in pain. I'm not really missing something. Now, to be fair, you might have one goal at one point in your life that's a dream, then you find a better goal, which is great. You find something that's even more attuned to who you are and what you want to do in the world. I'm not talking about, those little details of how things shift around, but don't forget your dreams in the broad sense. I read a quote once that says, "The struggle of man against tyranny is the struggle of memory against forgetting." It's true, right? The tyrant, whoever he is, a person, a system, whatever, doesn't really want you to remember that, things were better before the tyrant showed up. And that there's another way to live. The tyrant doesn't want you to remember that horrible thing he did yesterday and how horrible it was. The tyrant doesn't want you to think outside the box that the tyrant built. Right? Because thinking outside the box is the prelude to getting outside the box. And inside the ponies with the box. Pony in a box. It's a mixed metaphor. It's fine. You know what I mean? Getting outside of prison and finding freedom, which the TARDIS is a good symbol of freedom. You think about it. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't forget your dreams. Now, what does it mean to pursue dreams? There's something to be said about the details there, the tactics. I've always worried about being the guy who is essentially buying lottery tickets, right? Someone's, my dream is to win the jackpot. And then what do? You buy a lottery ticket, you buy 10, you buy 1,000, whatever, and you lose money. That's the whole point of the lottery. You lose more than you put in. There's no point at all in playing the lottery for the purposes of winning. I suppose if you found the activity super fun, you could make a case for it. But honestly, couldn't you have more fun with that same amount of money? I really believe you could. However much money it was that you spent on lottery tickets. The point is, I've worried in the past, what if, I'm the guy pursuing a dream and doing it all wrong and just digging myself into a hole instead of finding success? Yeah, I can see why that's a concern. So there's a question of tactics. How you pursue it. Right? People think sometimes that all it requires is commitment. Well, commitment to what, actually? That's the thing. If you're committed to, I don't know, you want to launch a business, and you put all your money into that business, even though, let's say, that it's a shoddy business plan, or the statistics are against you, you're probably going to fail. There's an assumption sometimes, if I put all my chips on this, then it will necessarily work. Well, no. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. But if you have a better sense of what it means to be committed, if you have a better sense of what your dreams are and who you are, then it's not about being committed to that business you want to start up or this or that specific thing. It's about committed to a deeper idea of living well and living true. You know, and if you had that idea in mind, then maybe you'd say, okay, wait a minute. I want to live well and live true, and this particular project is not worth the gamble, right? Or I have to do it in a different way, and then it'll work, right? There have been times I tried to push through the things I love with a sense of commitment mixed with self-hatred. Very toxic. Don't do that. I was like, I like creative stuff. I like writing. I'm gonna be a writer. I'm gonna write 1,000 pages every day, and if I don't, then I hate myself and all this. Oh my gosh, it was so intense. It took me a long time to learn, like, that's not the way to do it, because you've already abandoned yourself. I'm sure there's someone somewhere who has yelled themselves into getting something written, but whoever that person is, they could have written more and better, or rather just lived more and better, which might involve writing. It might involve other things they want to do. I don't know. If they had lived with self-love and not self-hate. You see, there's the real dream. That's where all the specific, more specific dreams come from, if they're true dreams. Is a sense of being true to yourself and to your place in the world. This is rather vague. You may have noticed I don't script out my videos before I make them. But don't forget your dreams in this deepest abstract sense. And also even in the specific senses where, like, Pony in a Box is still awesome. I'm still so glad we did that. Right? And I could, getting back to that old question about temptation, I could in theory just be like, well, whatever, there's a thing, it doesn't count. It did count. It was awesome. I loved it. I still love it. I want to get back to doing that. I just read comments from people who were like, oh, I found this series when I was like 13 years old, and I was, staying up late, listening to the latest episode being broadcast. It's like, that's so magical. That's awesome. I want to do that. I want to be the guy that's making the awesome things for the peoples, the kids in particular, but really all ages. There's got to be a way. Gosh, dang it. And if I can't make Pony in a Box happen right now, frick it. I'll make other things happen. I'll pursue my dream of Sudbury schools and whatnot. I'm trying to found one. It's a slow process, but I visited a Sudbury school just before the pandemic, and that was inspiring, Life is meant to be good, right? And if things aren't going well right now, then, like, there's got to be some way. I'm not saying it's necessarily obvious or easy, but there's some way to deal with whatever crap the universe has thrown your way to eventually get to that spot where life is so much better in all the ways that matter. That Brony fandom in general is a little smaller than it once was, right? And I can't just conjure up the whole fandom again as big as it was in 2012, 2013. But gosh dang it, there must be a way to make that essence happen again. I mean, some of it's still happening. I just, auditioned for a project. But then, like, you take that seed and then expand it. Maybe Brony's come back around in G5, or maybe it's bigger than just this franchise. What if it's a broader group of people, that can go on regardless of what franchises are or not happening at the moment. Or we make our own things and we somehow bring back love and tolerance and there's so many possibilities for the future. You know, the world is vast. And yeah, sometimes random disasters come your way. God dang it. But keep on trying. Because I'm telling you now, I haven't been through some very dark times. Some really intense pain. Some points, one particular point from a few years ago when I felt at the end of my rope. I felt like this was it. I'd made my final mistake. I'd moved, actually, and it freaked me out way more than I've ever seen anyone freak out about moving. I was more mentally fragile than I realized, and I got to a spot of like, I felt like this was it. I was just gonna spiral into darkness and insanity from here. Oh yeah, it was intense. And yet here I am. Found other things at the sources of support, and there's some old friends that stood by me at some critical moments. And there's other old friends who just aren't around, and I miss them so much. And I don't know where they went, and it makes no sense. And it hurts so much. And yet, somehow I'm here. So I'm glad I didn't lose hope. I mean, like, I got really dark, but there was this little bit of just trying to stay alive, holding onto the edge of the cliff type of a, And I had enough of that. Enough of that. That I survived. And I got support from people, and I read a whole bunch of therapy books. And just this week realized that the therapists there's been a huge gap in the specific things that they ought to have done. And I was mad at them for missing this key element. But also elated, like, oh wait, I figured something out here. It's a little hard to describe the details of that emotional posture, so to speak. The shift that changes perspectives and lets you think more clearly. Another random thing I've learned is that the sneakiest bad habits are the ones that look productive. I've long had a habit of reading the news like a lot. Like checking the headlines 3 times an hour as if there have been new headlines, and like there haven't. It's been a slow realization to get to the point of like, you know what? I think of myself as being a well-informed citizen, but I'm just avoiding emotional pain, aren't I? So now I read the news like once a week. I don't know, I may change the rules on that later. I have one particular day of the week. I'm like, fine, I'll read, I'll be informed, and then I'll go back to my own thoughts and feelings. I've made more room for myself. More room for these wordless thoughts. Because there had been a notion that you had to have everything pinned down and explicable. And there are plenty of times where you don't have things pinned down yet in your own head. You have to like be at peace with that. Just be like, well, I'm feeling feelings. I don't have words for it yet, but that's okay. My brain is still like churning through the thing, whatever it is. It's another thing a therapist didn't teach me. I had to stumble on that through a therapy forum. There's support groups on Reddit. Did you know that? Wish someone had told me that several years before I discovered them. Could have sped up the process. I'm telling you, whoever's watching this video, man. Don't forget your dreams. We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves? Remember that old song? There's so much life to live. And so many people don't see it. They've been conditioned into not seeing it. And they get by just sort of all bored and, you know, vaguely annoyed maybe with the world. Or just sort of, maybe they think they're okay, but they're not really living their best life, you know? In the obscure Ghibli movie, Only Yesterday, I believe it was Only Yesterday, there's a bit where this girl wants to be an actress, and her dad says no because it was considered improper for whatever random reasons, cultural nonsense. I don't know. Freaking in Shakespeare's time, they had this notion that women shouldn't be on stage. Why? Who keeps coming up with these stupid rules? Anyway, later on in the movie, that girl's all grown up, and she's like recounted the story to someone, and she's like, no, it's okay. It's okay that my dad shamed me and ruined my dreams of being an actress. And I'm like, no, it's not! Look, I'm not saying that being an actress was your only way to find happiness. I don't know, there's lots of other things in the world. But you cared. That mattered to you. So, you know, you should at least dabble in it. Right? This is I'm going to take a stand on principle. You should at least find yourself at least one random community theater thing and get involved with it on some capacity. And test your heart. You know, feel it in your heart. How do I am I into this? Has this been long buried all my life? Huh? Maybe I make a big deal out of it. Maybe I even make a career. But if it's not a career, it still could be an important part of who you are and what you do. At least go explore it. When I was, well, at any age, but I'm thinking now at high school, suffering like crazy in that school system. Supposedly an excellent school with lots of money and stuff, and I suffered terribly. But I had enough, just a little bit of self-love in me to write down a lot of creative ideas, all these dreams I had. And you know what? Those things I wrote down, they are still beautiful. They don't become unbeautiful because it's been X number of years and they haven't happened yet. And my capacity to dream is still beautiful, much as it's been stymied by various events and whatever. It's still precious. It's always been precious. It's not just something I made up. You know, you could imagine somebody who like says, "Oh, my dream is X," and then they realize, "Oh, then their dream's not really X. X doesn't actually appeal to them." Fine. Maybe you got confused. It's possible. But there's something deep in my heart telling me what matters. And that's what I'm saying when I say don't forget your dreams. Stuff that the world told you not to do. That stuff that speaks to your heart and soul, that clearly would make the world a better place if it became reality. That stuff that people tell you is impossible, or, you know, if you know in your heart that it's good and pure, then pursue it. And find the way to pursue it. Again, it's not, okay, I'm going to use self-hatred to do... No, don't do anything that starts with a sentence, I'm going to use self-hatred. You're just shooting yourself in the foot from the very beginning. And if that means you end up doing a bunch of random stuff that makes you feel alive but isn't productive, good. If it truly makes you alive, that's a sign. I don't suppose I can explain it all perfectly. But don't forget your dreams. There's so much life to live. Oh my gosh, I took my hat off. That's symbolic. Do you know why I started wearing hats? Because I had dizzy spells. And having a weight pressing down on your head, for me anyway, helped to reduce, though certainly not eliminate, that problem. It gives you a reminder, which way is gravity? You know, Perry Urban once wrote a song about me. There's a line in there. Take your black hat off your wandering head, let your mind be free. His hat's not black anymore, but whatever, it's a new one. Pick up the cards where the beauty is drawn, let your instinct be. Whoever you are out there watching this, man, keep up alive. Don't forget your dreams. There's a way. I don't know necessarily what it is. Depends on who you are, your situation, whatever. There's a way. Somehow, some way. I don't know. Just go find it. It takes time, maybe. It takes effort. There's heartbreak along the way, perhaps. But it's always better to follow the dreams in the truest sense of that word. There's no limits in the end. Even in the face of death, god damn it. People die, and it sucks. So we're just gonna have to find a way to bring them back. I'm not endorsing any random, I don't know, magic nonsense and so forth. I don't know how to bring back the dead, but like, frickin' people, we are doing things now that would have been impossible, would have seemed utterly impossible 10,000 years ago. So 10,000 years in the future, if humanity does more good than bad, if we progress further and further, and we become better as a people, and technology gets better, then I can't say for sure what the future may bring, but frick it, maybe we do bring back the dead. Somehow. Through some new laws of physics that haven't even been imagined yet. I don't know. There's hope. Even for that! The hat came off. It's symbolic. At any rate, you can at least keep up with your dreams while you're still alive. Whatever the method that is. You weren't able to become a pop star? Fine. You know, I understand that's painful. That your dream didn't come true. You could still sing, can't you? To yourself, for your friends, on the internet, something. Have fun with it, right? You haven't written a book yet, even though you've always wanted to. Well, maybe you write the book, or you can't, or you find some way to make it easier for yourself, or you end up making radio plays because that's creative too, and it's not a book, but it's you know. You feel alone. Now, you can't control other people, but you can reach out to new people. There's 7 billion of them. Oh, I know what loneliness feels like, man. I know it's painful, and I don't want you to use this as an excuse for shaming yourself. Okay? Don't do that. That's not what this video is. It's gotta come from self-love. But yeah, you've had your setbacks, your difficulties. It's not right. It's not fair. But just keep hope alive. Keep doing the right things best you can. Don't forget your dreams. Thanks for watching. See you later.